Hey, it's Jazz here from thebassmastermind.com, and today I'm really excited for you to watch this video because what you're about to watch is a 7-day technique challenge, and this is specifically designed for bass guitarists. So this is actually a full course that used to be inside thebassmastermind.com. Now, this course is perfect for you if you're a beginner bassist looking to improve your technique so you can play your favorite songs or favorite bass lines on the bass guitar, or if you're an intermediate bass player and you're looking to brush up on your skills and develop more, say, finger independence and more speed on the bass guitar. So in the past, this course has actually sold for $97, but as we're coming up to Christmas, I'm going to give you all 7 videos, the whole course, for free on this YouTube channel. You can think of this as your 2021 Christmas present from me. And now all I ask in return is that you subscribe to this channel and then make sure your notifications are turned on, as I'll be releasing a lot more exciting things like this in the future. And of course, if I post any more courses, I don't want you to miss out. So make sure to watch the videos in order from day 1 to day 7. And when you watch this course, in the videos, I'll actually be talking about the 7-day technique challenge workbook. This is a PDF, and inside the workbook PDF, there is a place that you can make notes, but more importantly, there is a technique checklist which summarizes the entire course in just 3 pages. So you can download and print off this checklist as a PDF and then maybe put it on your wall or something and then refer back to it in the future. The workbook is completely free, and it's actually inside my free Facebook group for bass players. So to get access to the technique checklist and workbook, and also there's some other free courses on this Facebook group, just like this one, click the link below to join the Facebook group, and you can become part of the Bassmaster community. In this community, there are free bass lessons, courses, transcriptions, PDFs, tabs, drum loops, and obviously a community of like-minded bass players from around the world. And this group is a perfect place to ask questions if you ever feel stuck in your bass playing. So before you watch today's lesson, click the link below to become part of the Bassmaster community so you can download the workbook and the technique checklist. And then you can come back to this video. So with all of that being said, let's jump into today's lesson. Hey, welcome back to today's lesson. Today's lesson is called the 3 plucking hand positions. So today we're going to cover why playing bass is like driving a car. We're going to cover plucking hand technique. We're going to cover how to avoid injury in the plucking hand, which is really important, of course. And we're going to look at the 3 main positions when it comes to plucking in your right or left hand if you're a left hand bass player. So when it comes to playing bass, this is how I like to think about the difference between the plucking hand and the fretting hand. So the plucking hand is like an engine of a car, and the fretting hand is like the steering wheel. So the engine makes the car go, and we use the steering wheel to navigate where we want to go. And this is kind of like playing guitar. So let's do a real deep dive into this plucking hand. So start by resting your thumb on the pickup. I have what's called a P bass here, a P bass pickup. So if you have 2 pickups like a jazz bass, just rest it on that first pickup here. But I'm going to rest my thumb on this pickup here. Now, what I want you to do is just play a note on the E string. If you don't know what the open strings on the bass are, if you're a complete beginner, you can use this sentence to memorize the open strings. Eat, E, and A, drink, D, grapes, G. So eat and drink grapes. So let's actually look at plucking a note in the plucking hand. So we're going to focus on plucking the E string and the A string. So what I want you to do when you go to pluck the E string, I want you to pluck with your finger and then go through the string. Don't do this kind of action. I want you to go through the string and then land on your thumb. Just like this. And then when you go to play the A string, you can move your thumb up. So now your thumb has moved from the pickup to the E string. And then you're just going to play same thing, open A. Remember, go through the string and then land on the string below, or obviously if you're on the E string, you land on the thumb. So just get used to that, playing the open E string and then going through the string on the open A string. So through the string and land on the string below. Now to avoid injury, just make sure your plucking hand wrist, this wrist here, is not bent too much. You don't want this kind of action, and you don't want to kind of be pulling away from the strings. We're not doing any slap bass today. So yeah, you don't want this kind of action. You want to keep this wrist nice and straight. If you do bend it, you're going to restrict blood flow, and it can lead to horrible things like RSI and no, you don't want that. So just lift up your plucking hand elbow slightly. If you want to avoid that bent wrist, lift up this elbow, and then it will straighten out the wrist a little bit. So you've got your elbow up, and then you're going through the string. Now the one thing I really want you to focus on, because that shouldn't be too difficult, just plucking. Just keep all those things in mind when you're playing. It's a lot to think about, but the main thing I really want you to think about, once you feel comfortable playing the open E and the open A, I want you to think about first and second finger consistency. So we've got an index finger and middle finger on our plucking hand, and the goal is to make them sound consistent. So we're going to alternate first finger, second finger, first finger, second finger, or index, middle. And what we don't want is inconsistency. So we don't want one note loud and then the next one is quiet. And this is going to be really helpful, especially when we start playing more of those like eighth note rock bass lines. Getting that consistency and just having control. If you want to accent certain notes like that, then you can, and you just have a bit more control. But start by just playing consistent, going through the string, thinking about your elbow, thinking about your plucking hand, and consistency in the plucking hand. Those are the real main things to really be thinking about when you're using your plucking hand. Now let's quickly go over the 3 plucking hand positions. Obviously there's a lot more, but these are like the 3 main ones, and this really depends on many things. What style of music you're playing, it could be what tone you're going for, and just how the bass sounds on stage. Maybe you're going through some really big amps and it sounds quite bassy. But let me show you the 3 plucking hand positions. So I like to play most of the time, especially if I'm playing this bass, I like to play near the pickup with my thumb, like we were just doing, with my thumb resting on the pickup. So that's my favorite position, nice round tone. So that's number 1. Number 2 is near the neck, and this is more of a woody, kind of like more like a double bass kind of sound. If I was playing some walking lines like and you can see actually there, this is like a completely kind of off topic, but a little bonus tip, that I am actually just playing with one finger there. I just like to play walking lines with my middle finger. And again, that's because of that consistent sound. I want each note to sound consistent. But that's just a little bonus tip for you. So that's the second position near the neck. And then the third position, people say more of a Jacko sound, but it's more tight and it's more funky. And it's more of that sound. If you can't tell the difference, maybe you're listening to this video on like a phone or something. So if you've got headphones on, you'll definitely be able to hear the difference between and. But like I said, most of the time I like to kind of stick around the pickup area. Alright, so your Bassmaster mission for today is what I call the consistency test. I want you to set your metronome at 60 BPM and just play quarter notes and then eighth notes and alternate between quarter notes and eighth notes. So quarter notes, if we've got a bar of 4/4, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, that's quarter notes, so it's just playing the beats of the bar. And eighth notes are more 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And this exercise is super simple, but definitely don't let simplicity fool you with this exercise and don't overlook it. As you can imagine, as bass players, we'll be doing a lot of this. These kind of bass lines, right? And just getting that consistent sound with both fingers. And then you've also got so much to think about, especially from this lesson. You've got your elbow to think about. You've got your, everything from yesterday as far as like sitting up straight, making sure the bass is pushed away from you. Then you got your thumb, making sure your thumb's in the right position, making sure you're going through the string. If this is all brand new to you, that's quite a lot to think about. But if you are comfortable with all of those things, the next thing you really want to get down is that consistent sound. And this will be really apparent if you're on stage, you've got a big backline, big amps on stage, and if you're recording as well. That consistency is going to be really key. So what I want you to do is lock into the metronome. If it's 60 BPM, imagine you're playing a groove, and I just want you to record yourself on your phone. You can just use the voice memos app if you have an iPhone or the equivalent on the Android. But just find a way to record yourself. It doesn't have to be the best recording. The quality doesn't really matter. Just listen back and see how consistent the sound is. And I also want you to play this exercise in those 3 different plucking hand positions. So what you can do is start with the first position, which is here, and play quarter notes, 2, 3, 4, and then eighth notes, and 2, 3, and 4, and then do the same in this position, so near the neck, 1. See how that feels and sounds, and then 1. And then obviously play it near the bridge. So yeah, quarter notes, which are just on the beat, and then eighth notes in those 3 different plucking hand positions. Really listen to the sound, think about everything from today's lesson and yesterday's lesson, and I will see you in tomorrow's lesson. So I hope you enjoyed that lesson, and before you go, just make sure to click the link below to join my free Facebook group for bass players, where you can download the Technique Challenge workbook and technique checklist, just so you can get the most out of this course. In the Bassmaster community, there are loads of free bass lessons, courses, transcriptions, PDFs, tabs, drum loops, and obviously the community of like-minded bass players from around the world. And if you click here, it will take you to the next lesson in this series.